Hi everybody, well thank you for joining us. I'm very pleased to have this opportunity to talk to Jeredyne Stanley, a personal friend of mine, but who's also very much involved in the local community with her charity, and we're going to have a little bit of a chat with her and find out a little bit of the work she has done over the years and in most recent months. So welcome Jeredyne, thank you for being here with us. Maybe you'd like to take a moment just to tell people a little bit about yourself and some of your history.
Hi, as David had said, I'm Jeredyne Stanley. I live in Crawley in West Sussex. I've lived here for many, many years. A bit of myself is that my background is in the financial sector, but for the last few years, I've actually worked in the local community. Working in the local community for me means supporting women, supporting ethnic minority groups, and also reaching out to the disadvantaged and for those who are out of touch with normal communities.
And so the work of Rivers, we're obviously in the middle of this pandemic, a worldwide pandemic. What did Rivers do before that? What sort of things were you involved in the community?
Before in the community, I worked with ladies who'd come from different parts of the world to join families here in Crawley. They were immigrants. A lot of these women were sitting at home doing nothing. We're not sure of how to be integrated into the society. So with a group of friends and family members, we were able to get a community group together. And what we did was we were able to get these ladies out of their homes, got them into groups, teaching them English, giving them employability skills. Moving on from that, we found out that most of these ladies wanted to have jobs. So we created an employment scheme, which David at the time helped us set up. But not only that, we also did IT lessons, computer lessons. We took them to the library. And a lot of the work ended up being with women who were most vulnerable. That is, women from different backgrounds. And also we looked at how this was affecting their domestic lives, and therefore had to raise a lot of awareness about domestic abuse.
And so in this kind of COVID season with the pandemic, what challenges have you faced as a charity, as many others have done?
With the COVID situation, it happened soon after we've actually acquired an office space, which would created a safe space for women. With COVID and people going into lockdown, what that meant that the safe space, as we said in the community, did not exist anymore, and people had to stay homes. Now, not all homes are safe, and not all houses are safe houses. So we found out, and I found out, that I was going to lose touch with a lot of the women. And from the work we've done with them previously, we found out about food poverty. So these are people who are vulnerable, not because they're physically sick, but they're vulnerable because of the likelihood of where they would get money from to support their families. Some of them had small children, some of them had children of school-going age. So what I had to do then was to think of another way we could support these women. And in supporting them meant giving them what they really need. And what they really wanted was food. To actually move on with the charity, I had to ring a lot of these women, call a lot of friends, send text, and found out that they wanted food. They just wanted the basic necessities that they would not normally be able to get when they're at home.
And so how did you begin to assess those challenges, and what support did you have in those early stages?
I found out that a couple of organizations and at least one individual had put up money for community groups who were going to help people in the COVID situation. So I found myself searching for these financial offers and filling in lots and lots of application forms. Most of all, the main challenge was getting these forms in on time. I was able to do that because I work from home. And also because I've worked with a lot of vulnerable women, this gave me an opportunity to use the knowledge that I already had and the experience other women had shared with me as to what was most important. The main assessment came from me ringing around and contacting some of the women, a group of volunteers who work with me, and local community groups, informal groups, as to how would you really want us to support you? And with that, I found that although I could give them food, a lot of them were not going to be able to leave their house. So we partnered already with Fair Share. So we contacted Fair Share and they contacted us, and we knew we were going to get some more food. We contacted New Life Church, which is a local church that was looking to work in the community. They gave us access to their buildings free of charge, so we used that as a center. And finally, we were able to access a lot more groups who gave us informal donation and time as well.
So at the moment, there's a lot of news coverage about equalities and different groups. How did you find the inequalities in the community? How did that work out for you, and how did you observe that?
With inequalities in the community, it was no surprise to me when the reports came out that BAME groups were more affected by the COVID-19 situation, as that is one thing we've observed working with local women, that these groups are the ones who are less likely to ask for help or support. They're the groups that are less likely to challenge their employers at work or seniors. They're the groups that are less likely to make a decision because they're scared of breaking the law. And also I found that because these group of people are more dedicated to their work, they would be sick or go without, but still turn up for work. And also I found that the other vulnerable are the elderly, because although a lot of them have been told to self-isolate, there's a lot of confusion around that. And whether we like it or not, not everybody falls into the age bracket where they think I should automatically stay home. A lot of them were bewildered and did not understand what was going on. But one thing I must point out is that when all the COVID situation and lockdown was being announced, very little time was taken to approach community groups, to approach people of color, to approach local ethnic minorities and explain to them in detail what is going to happen and why it was going to happen.
And so what challenges did that present to you in your work?
Well, the main challenge was for me looking for volunteers, looking for people who were willing to work with me even though we were in lockdown. Another challenge was getting the money in, which again, the organizations we got funding from were really quick. I think the turnaround period was 2 or 3 weeks. And getting people who could drive, because a lot of the vulnerable people we were supporting are people who do not own their own cars. And with a bit of owning cars, I was able to get volunteers who came out from around Crawley who could drive and help us make up the food parcels. Another challenge was the administration work. So I found myself doing more than 40 hours a week, working from home, doing the paperwork, doing the printing, and doing a lot of other things I would otherwise have delegated to my volunteers. So, yeah, I think those were the challenges I had.
And so how did you overcome them? How are you overcoming those challenges?
The challenges have been overcome by, first of all, thinking about my mental health and putting myself first, although I don't always remember that. I've got families involved. I've got members of the New Life Church Foundation involved. I've got local people in the community, and Crawley Voluntary Action have been good in getting me volunteers. And most of all, some of the vulnerable people themselves have got in touch. So, for example, what they've done is with regards to reaching out, is they themselves have sent out pictures on WhatsApp and got other family members to come forward and volunteer and help as much as they can.
And so what do you hope to do and achieve going forward?
Going forward, I intend to continue supporting families who are affected by the COVID-19 situation. We live near Gatwick Airport. Most of the people from ethnic minority background and low-income families who work at Gatwick Airport work in jobs that are not secured. A lot of them unfollow and they have no idea of what's going to happen after the follow situation or scheme ends. So we're looking to continue supporting people with the food banks, continue giving gift vouchers, doing more about supporting people with mental health, and hopefully holding more, using social distancing rules, of course, holding more IT classes, as a lot of women do have phones, a lot of people from poorer backgrounds do have mobile phones, but they don't realize that these phones are computers they can use to access online services. So a lot of our work will be around that.
So if people wanted to find out more about the work and about how they can get involved, how would they do that, Jeredyne?
They can contact me by mobile phone. My number will come up soon. They can send us an email, but most and foremost, they can contact us on social media.
Well, thank you very much for your time, Jeredyne. We appreciate all the work that you're doing. We appreciate the fact that you're involved helping the most vulnerable and the most needy in the community. As Jeredyne has said, please do get in contact with Rivers. They'd love to hear from you. They'd love to have your support and see how they can help those in the local area. So thanks for your time and hope to see you soon.
Thank you. Thank you, David.